Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really focusing in on AMD advanced micro devices. We've sifted through, financials, earnings calls, news, basically trying to get you the core insights fast.
Exactly. A quick hit on what's going on. So the report had the stock at what, $114.99, just dipped a bit that day.
Yeah, down about 2.3%.
Yeah,
And interestingly, the report mentions a fair value near $140, but also this price target of $155. Bit of a range there.
definitely. It shows there's some different takes on its value. Big company, though. Market cap, $186 billion.
That's hefty. And revenue, trailing 12 months, $27.75 billion. Net income, $2.23 billion. And they're projecting forward EPS around $4.04.
And you look at the 52-week range, $76 up to $187. Tells you something about the volatility, doesn't it?
For sure. So our plan is quick look at recent performance, then what's ahead, analyst thoughts, and the key takeaways. Sound good?
Let's do it.
All right, so Q1 2025, record quarter for them, $7.4 billion in revenue.
Yeah, that's up 36% year over year. Beat their own guidance, too, which is always a good sign.
And it's like the fourth quarter straight where that year-over-year growth actually picked up speed.
That kind of momentum is pretty notable. And profits look decent, too. Non-GAAP gross margin hit 54%.
So over half the revenue left after making the product.
Pretty much. And the non-GAAP EPS, earnings per share, that jumped 55% to $6.96. Strong number.
Seems like data center and client were the main engines here. Data center revenue up 57%.
Massive jump, $3.7 billion. That's the EPYC server chips and those Instinct GPUs really selling well.
Although, wasn't there a slight dip compared to the previous quarter?
There was, yeah, down 5% sequentially. But look, they're still forecasting strong double-digit growth for the full year in data center. They expect the GPU side to really accelerate later in 2025, especially with the new MI350 series.
It's okay. And the client side, PCs and laptops.
That also surged, up 68% year over year to $2.3 billion. Seems like they got higher prices, average selling prices for their Ryzen chips.
But gaming took a hit.
It did. Lower semi-custom sales, the chips for consoles and things, but they think that'll bounce back to growth for the full year.
And embedded.
Down slightly, 3% year over year. But again, they expect that to pick up in the second half of 2025.
So, looking ahead then, Q2 guidance, around $7.4 billion again, give or take $300 million.
Right. But there's a big caveat there, isn't there? The China export rules.
Ah, yeah. That's factoring in a $700 million revenue reduction because of new license requirements.
Exactly. So even with that hit, the midpoint of their guidance is still, 27% growth year over year, which is pretty robust, all things considered.
And for the full year, 2025, they're sticking to that strong double-digit revenue growth forecast, even with the China impact.
Seems like it. They estimate the total hit from China export controls for the year could be around $1.5 billion. So for them to still project strong double-digit growth overall, well, it suggests they're very confident about other areas.
Like data center GPUs kicking in later.
Yeah, data center overall expected to grow strong double digits. GPUs accelerating in the second half with the MI350 launch. Plus, they're already talking MI400 and EPYC Venice for 2026. So the pipeline looks pretty full.
And they expect to grow PC chip revenue faster than the market, too.
That's the plan. Plus, getting semi-custom and embedded back to growth later in the year.
They're also making big plays in AI, right? That ZT Systems acquisition sounds significant.
It does. They're clearly targeting that massive AI accelerator market. I mean, forecasts are talking $500 billion by 2028. That's huge. Their software platform, ROCM, and partnerships are key there, too.
And we should mention the $6 billion stock buyback they announced.
Right. That often signals management thinks the stock's a good buy, and it can help boost EPS by reducing the share count. It's a sign of confidence, usually.
Okay, what about their competitive edge? The report calls it a narrow economic moat. What's that mean in simple terms?
Basically, they have some advantages: good tech, intellectual property, maybe some switching costs for customers that offer some protection, but it's narrow, meaning it's not impossible for competitors like, Intel or NVIDIA to challenge them. They have to keep innovating constantly.
Which they are doing, but the pressure's always on.
Always. Intense competition.
So, given all that, what are the analysts saying? The average price target is $143.40.
That's the average from recent reports, yeah. But it's a bit all over the place. You had UBS trim theirs to $150. Melius actually raised theirs to $110. Stiefel lowered to $132. So kind of a mixed bag from the experts.
And the report summarizes the bull versus bear cases. Give us the quick version.
Okay, so the bulls, the optimists, they're looking at the strong growth, especially in data center, the PC market potential, the AI investments, sort of the whole growth story.
Makes sense. And the bears.
The bears are pointing squarely at those China export restrictions. That $1.5 billion potential hit is a big deal. Plus, the intense competition we mentioned, potential bumps in certain segments like we saw with gaming, and just general economic or regulatory risks.
Right. Which leads us nicely into the key risks. So number one is clearly that China export impact.
Absolutely. $1.5 billion potential revenue reduction for 2025. That's significant. Then there's the constant competitive pressure.
And the potential for, say, the gaming segment or embedded to fluctuate quarter to quarter.
Exactly. Segment volatility, and then, the broader macro environment. Recessions, regulations, geopolitical stuff, it all plays a role.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What are the key takeaways here for someone trying to get a quick handle on AMD?
Well, look, AMD is definitely showing strong growth, particularly in those really important data center and client markets. They're making smart moves in AI. But they've got these significant headwinds. The China export rules are real. Competition isn't going away.
And analysts' views on the stock price are, well, varied. Though the average target suggests maybe some upside from where it was.
Potential upside, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's clearly not a straightforward picture.
And just a necessary reminder here, this is just a snapshot based on the info we looked at. It's definitely not investment advice. You absolutely need to do your own homework before making any decisions.
Absolutely. It really highlights that AMD is kind of walking a tightrope, isn't it? Balancing these huge growth opportunities, especially in AI, against some pretty serious geopolitical and competitive challenges. Makes you wonder how they'll navigate that long term.
It really does. Well, thanks for tuning into this deep dive with us. If you found this kind of focused analysis helpful and you want more quick breakdowns like this, please do subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon too. Your support genuinely helps us create more content focused on what matters to you.